What's up, world? Steve over here at SoReal Sounds. So I know in the past I've talked about the Lucas Lighting Decoders, and we talked about the different things that they can do to help with making sure that your lights work properly, that there's no issues in the car, and then you get your longevity out of the lights. So we've talked about how they use the decoders in different resistance values so that you don't get warning lights, but we've also talked about how they have capacitance in them for what's called, we refer to it as PWM, but it stands for Pulse Width Modulation. So I want to go a little bit deeper into that, so check this out.
Okay, so here is a set of CAN bus decoders from Lucas Lighting. So let me open this up here so you can take a look at them if you haven't seen them in previous videos. So here is the decoder itself. Okay, and then you have your harness that makes it plug and play to the LED bulb. So one side will go to the vehicle wiring, the other side will go to the LED bulb that you're installing, and then you'll mount this and secure this into the vehicle itself. So the purpose of CAN bus decoders is to trick the car into thinking that you have a regular halogen bulb installed into the housing instead of an LED one. Because obviously LED lights do not draw as much power as a regular halogen bulb. So most decoders that are out there basically have some resistance value inside of them. And what happens with LED lights when you start using them is as they warm up, their light output will change a little bit. The temperature, obviously, of the bulb is going to change. As it's on, it's going to get warmer, and that will actually change the resistance of the bulb and a little bit of its current draw. So with standard decoders that you find from a lot of other companies, as that value changes, there are some vehicles where that CAN bus decoder will no longer work properly because once the bulb gets hotter and those values in the bulb change, now that resistance inside the CAN bus decoder with the values of the bulb are going to be off, and it can still throw error codes. So the benefit to the Lucas Lighting decoder is they actually have 3 different resistors inside of their decoders. And what this does, this monitors what's going on with the bulb. So as the values of that bulb change, the decoder will switch between the various resistors to make sure the car sees what it needs to so that there's no issues or no error lights that come up. The other thing that the Lucas Lighting CAN bus decoders have that the other decoders don't have is capacitors inside of here. So with the capacitors that's in here, they will actually store some power inside of it. And that's to account for the PWM or pulse width modulation. So the way pulse width modulation works, basically it's kind of like controlling the average power that goes to the bulbs. That's what a lot of vehicles are doing now, regardless if it's a stock LED bulb or a stock halogen bulb. The pulse width modulation is used a lot in various vehicles. So instead of having power that goes to that bulb when the light's on, with pulse width modulation, it's pulsing, like the name, it's pulsing power to the bulb very, very, very quickly. And they do it so fast that we just can't see it with the naked eye. So I did take some recordings from my dash cam of vehicles that were behind me that had pulse width modulation, because the only way you can really see them is with some form of camera. So check this out real quick. So as you can see from those dash camera recording clips, you can see various vehicles where those lights were flickering like this. And, some are different than others, but that's basically what pulse width modulation is. And when you look at the cars regularly, you don't notice that. But if you pull out a camera and look at it through a camera lens, you will see that flashing. So the capacitance in here, because it stores power, will prevent that flashing from happening on the bulbs. So when you think of light, if you have a light that's steady on and you have another light that's just flashing really flash, you're not going to have consistent light output from the one that's flashing. So at the end of the day, the light output that you're going to have on the ground or wherever it may be pointing is not going to be its best, versus having something with the decoder and the capacitance where it's constantly on all the time. So these are super helpful in cars that have that pulse width modulation. That way you don't worry about any flickering from the bulbs. You can make sure that that bulb stays on with constant light output. So at night when you're driving, you don't worry about not getting the most light output. And it's just going to help with the reliability of everything. So this is some of the reasons why we choose to use the Lucas Lighting products is because their decoders do a lot more than what everybody else's does to make sure that the lights work properly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you got any questions, make sure you reach out to us at SoReal Sounds, and I hope y'all have a blessed day.